And that's okay for me. So a big reason that I came to Keller Williams was the culture and the education. I think those two things are like bar none. Like it just is an amazing company to work with. I'll tell you a little bit more about where I find my buyers, but you'll learn that the network also is a huge piece of why I'm here too. Between the sharing within our office and then all the trainings at a regional level and the agents you can meet all over the country, all over the world by going to different trainings is like, that can fill your bucket right there just from having those referrals coming in. So that is a big reason that I love Keller Williams too. I have my sister's realtor in Williamsburg with the Keller Williams office. My parents are also realtors. My dad is totally retired now. My mom's gonna put her license on referral at the end of this month, which is a good thing. We need both of them to just kind of take their business and let them phase out. They need to. They have 13 grandkids and that keeps them busy. So real estate's not really fun for them anymore. So, but I'm from Williamsburg and they have such a great book of business that we're trying to figure out how to like kind of ease that into now it's us and not them anymore. So, it's interesting. We had a big 50th wedding anniversary party for them last September. And so the way we set up the invitation was to ask for everybody's like email, phone number, and physical address when we sent out the invite for it. And so that helped us like have an updated database, which I think is a great recommendation on getting that complete contact to do something like that. So I'll give you guys some tidbits of things that I've learned along the way and how I've literally failed forward. I started in 2006 and then we moved to Cleveland a year later. So I started my real estate journey there. And then 9 months later, we moved to Houston, Texas. And my husband promised me we'd only stay there for like 3 years, and we stayed there for like 5. And then as soon as we had a kid and he was a year old, he like realized how important it was to be closer to family. So we moved back, which was great. So I told him we've made a circle and my circle is closed. So if you get a job somewhere else, you're like on your own. I'm not moving again. So yeah, so in that time, I've raised babies, taken a break, kind of put real estate on the back burner. I did some transaction coordinating. So that kind of like supplemented me when I wasn't that busy. And then like in 2017, when I could kind of manage kids in preschool and different schools and all that, I kind of jumped back in. So yeah, I took a long break. I went on staff at one of the market centers when we lived in Houston. I was the director of agent services, which was kind of like what Ariel is kind of thing. So I orchestrated all the trainings and things like that too. So I know a little bit about the leadership side and the agent side too, probably just enough to be dangerous. I would probably say I'm with a handful of agents that have been here the longest, but does not mean by any means that I know a lot. So I'm going to share with you what I do know. And this is a class, I don't know why I picked this class to teach, but I did like 2 years ago, and like I don't want to change it because I know this content, although we have changed a little bit over the years. But I mean, buyers are great. I will say once you get in the business, you're probably going to want to focus more on sellers, but we're going to talk about the whole buyer part of it today too. So you guys know all the rules of fair housing and making your phone calls and making sure you're doing it the right way. For those of you online, oh wait, we don't have people online. Oh, this is great. So I don't have to like look at a camera and share a screen or anything. This is great. Okay, cool. Okay, so you guys have taken classes up until this transaction section. So this is like the fourth piece to the puzzle here. And so the next 3 or 5 or 6 sessions here are going to be focusing on the transaction itself. So a lot of your focus has been on where to get leads, how to find leads, what to do with leads, what to say to leads, all those things. So now we're going to kind of start to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And yeah, this should be good. So you did the lead generation, you did the follow-up. This is like, I don't know how much you guys focused on this, but this is like my downfall right here. I mean, when it comes to open houses, anything like that, like follow-up is like the most critical part. And for those of you that have done an open house for me, I appreciate the follow-up that you've given me and feedback you've given me, but please know those leads are yours. So if you want to reach back out to them and follow up with anybody that came to an open house, Please do that. Please, 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 because especially if they don't have an agent. I appreciate it because then I can tell the seller who came, what it was like, all those kind of things, but that is all. You guys can go ahead and take them, those leads. That's part of just helping me out. All right, so let's talk about what this looks like when we do get a lead, and we are gonna try to get that appointment with them. I know you guys have probably heard this, but the most important thing is getting that appointment. And we're gonna learn today how to qualify those buyers and who those buyers are, what a ready, willing, and able buyer looks like. They're your A buyers that could potentially do something in like the next 10 to 14 days. That's what a ready, willing, and able buyer looks like. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to meet with the person who's like got 3 months worth of credit repair to do, or they're not moving for another 6 months because their lease doesn't end. We're going to talk through like, well, does that really mean they have to wait 6 months? Because technically you probably pay the same amount to break a lease now as you do later, if you're going to do that. And then there might not be a cost if they're month to month, they just have to give a notice. So we'll talk about what that looks like too, qualifying that buyer. The right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. Just ask for it. And this is where we get in our own heads on this, because we freak out. Like, we don't want to ask for the appointment, or we're afraid. What? Or what are we afraid of when we ask for that appointment? Rejection. Everybody feels that. You're afraid of rejection. But here's the deal. For one, you don't know this person for the most part, because if you did know them, you wouldn't feel afraid to ask for the appointment. So what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose at this point? There's no shame in just asking, because they're really not saying no. They're probably just saying either not at the moment, or I really don't quite understand what it is you want. What is a buyer consultation? So it's probably that's one of those two things. Doesn't mean no for good. It may not just be no right now. Or it may be, okay, you're asking me for an appointment, but what does that mean? Am I going to have to pay you something? Am I going to have to sign some paperwork? What does that look like? So it's just making sure you understand that no doesn't really mean that. Really what it comes down to. All right. Those A buyers, let's talk about who those are. When you think of a buyer that is ready to buy, what does that look like to you? Does anybody know when you get that open house lead or a phone call from a friend, who is that typically? Someone who's what? They think they are. They think they're ready to buy. They either saw one of your posts and said, I'm sick of renting. I want to do this. They already talked to a lender. They potentially could have already talked to a lender, because that's one of the things you're going to find out. Have they talked to a lender? Are they really ready to buy? Do we know how much they're going to spend? Do they know how much they want to spend? Because they've looked on Zillow already. You know that. If they're doing this, and they've probably plugged in what their mortgage needs to be and how much they can spend and all the things, because they all do that. So, and honestly, I will say, like, through the years, before Zillow became a thing, I was a realtor. And I can't say what I like better, because you have these millennials who will do all the background searching, know everything about everything, call you, and this has happened to me, and say, can you show me this house because I think I like this house? And I go show them that house, and yes, that's the house. And they want to move forward on that house. And how many houses do I have to show them? One. Now, the flip side of that is, to them, Zillow has all the answers. And Zillow is what tells them what things are worth. And Zillow is what's going to tell them how much they should spend. Like, that's the flip side of it. So it's really about the buyer education when it comes to this, because you want to make sure that they're using that knowledge as power for themselves, for sure. Okay, so let's talk about that qualified buyer. You've said that it's someone who's actually said that they are wanting to buy a house. So that means if they've been pre-approved, really within the next 10 to 14 days, they should be able to put a contract on something. So if they haven't been pre-approved, what's the next steps? Get them approved, get them to a lender. You're probably going to have to ask some probing questions to get with them to kind of find out where are they in the process. And the best way to do that is to actually have them in front of you. So honestly, when they're ready and they say they're ready to buy a house, what should our follow-up be to that?
What would you like to say?
Absolutely. Let's get together. I'd love to talk to you about this. Are you available on Tuesday at 2 or Thursday at 3? Like, absolutely get them in. And honestly, that appointment can look like in our conference room, you set up a time block for you to be in there. You could even have Todd on call to be ready to just step in and come talk to them as well. And you're gonna go through a whole lot of information with them and overwhelm them. And I can show you this too. I'll leave this out here so you guys can take a look at this. A lot of this information is from Command, and I've broken it up into a buyer consultation playbook. I changed the name of it a little bit just to make it more like, but Canva, the new Canva and Command has a couple different options of how you can set this up. So I can show you, you guys are more than welcome to look at this. I can send you, at the end of the class, I send you guys the link to a Google Drive that has all of this information. So you guys have access to it. You can take it for whatever you want to use it for. That it's very helpful. Okay. Let's look at, you guys have seen this before. When you got a buyer, what did you do to get the buyer? Well, you were obviously lead generating to get that buyer. They either saw a post, they met you at an open house. There's different types of lead generating. You might have followed up with them because of something, and now they're potentially that A buyer ready to go. How do you follow up with them? Obviously, we want to get that appointment set up. And honestly, getting that appointment is you showing them your value proposition, showing them why you're the expert in the area. Let's look at the 7 steps to the buyer cycle. Have you guys seen this before? I didn't know if this is something that you've ever seen before. Okay, so it starts with your leads to appointments. That's what we just talked about. We talked about that you either met them at an open house, you met them through social media, you know them because a friend introduced you, whatever it is, you're now gonna step in and ask for that appointment. You're gonna prepare that consultation. This is what I shared with you. This is already gonna need to be in place. Like, you're gonna have to have this in place because you need to be able to present something to them. And Command really has a great design section that's somewhat clunky, but it's getting better. And when the Canva, if you can go into the brand templates for Canva, they have a lot of buyer consultations in there. I'm gonna go over a couple of the documents that I think are pertinent to that conversation and what I think is pertinent to either having the playbook or at least be talking about. And I'll show you what that is too. You've prepared for that. You're gonna have that consultation. Like I said, it might include Todd being a part of that. Helping them find a home. You're gonna get them set up on a portal. I don't know if that's what they still refer to it as, the portal for you guys. It's where you can go in and put in their criteria, because at some point during this consultation, you might do one of these 2 things. One of these is a buyer needs analysis, and this is a buyer consultation. These are all the questions you want to ask them to get their search set up correctly. So this is here for you guys to look at during the breaks for sure. And again, I'll give you the link to the Google Drive that has all of that in there, that you can use it. I would say I didn't use it on my last one. Mel went to a buyer consult with me a couple weeks ago, and I didn't use it on that, but partly is because I know what to ask now. I did forget one thing that was very important that I did not ask, which is why I feel like I can't just go free on that, because the buyer consultation keeps you like asking the right questions. And one important question that I didn't ask, and I found out later, was who's going to be living in the home with you? You just assume mom, dad, kids. Well, I didn't realize that mother-in-law is too. And we looked at a 3-story condo. Well, I wouldn't have even taken him there had I known that. So this consultation is super helpful because it makes you ask the right questions too. Finding the homes, and you get out there, that's the fun part, showing the houses, doing the offer, negotiating the contract to close, and then post-close system. I'm going to show you this too. This is super helpful. I have a buyer contract to close checklist that I've created. And this is kind of like everything that you need to do once you go under contract. So this is super helpful. You guys will have that too. I also have another post-closing checklist. Post-closing is a huge part of once you've closed on a property, because that allows you to stay in touch and follow up with them. So your post-closing is going to probably be putting them on a smart plan and Command. It's gonna be sharing your vendor list with them, because that's something they're gonna need down the road so that they know, hey, you're the expert, not just for this one transaction, but for be able to help me when I want to do a renovation on the house, when I need a contractor, when I need a plumber, all of those things. So it's a cycle, but I would say you live in post-closing once it's over and you stay in that. Because then they're gonna be part of your legion. You're gonna follow up with them. Also in post-closing, I have that I call them a week after closing, just to check in. At closing, I'm asking them, what day are they moving in? It doesn't always happen the next day. It might happen a week or two, or they're gonna put new floors in or whatever it is. And so because of that, it's good to know the day they're moving in, just so, hey, you might wanna stop by with a pizza. Or you might just wanna stop by to just check in and see how things are going. Any ahas from that? Or questions? Any questions from that? Yes, sir.
Is the buyer consultation playbook essentially kind of standard for every buyer, and then you kind of tailor it towards them when you meet them, or do you find out ahead of time and then change it?
No, you don't change it. And a lot of times this is just for first time buyers. Well, I say that, I always like to do with buyers that are new to the area, and this is the reason why. A big piece of that is going over the contract. In fact, that's like the most important piece of it, and here's why. When they're signing a contract, when it gets time, they're ready, where are they signing it? On their phones. So they're literally looking at an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper on their phone. They don't even know what they're signing. And I don't think that's fair to a buyer to make them say, okay, I'm gonna send you the contract, we gotta get it in, there's an offer deadline, we gotta hurry. No, they need to know what they're signing. So going over the contract is a huge piece of that buyer consult. And the reason why I say if they're not from this area, it's because our contract is local to our market. In fact, in Williamsburg, I work Williamsburg too. I don't use that contract. I use the VAR contract. Williamsburg agents hate a contract they don't know anything about. And they're so boutique in Williamsburg, that would like offend someone if I use that contract to submit an offer. So not only do I need to know the terms of that contract, I have to know that the VR contract as well, because that's what they use in Williamsburg. So I could have a buyer moving from Williamsburg to Richmond, and I still need to do a consult with them because they need to know what they're signing on the contract that we're working with. I say, if you feel like there's a buyer that hasn't bought in 10+ years, it's probably still good, and they're moving from Richmond to Richmond, like they're staying local, it's probably still good to go over that with them. The contract is super important, and I would say a great like downtime thing to do would be just record yourself going over the terms of a contract. You want to be able to know what it is you're presenting to them. So you're not, okay, so this next section is going to be about the property details. And then you're going like this. You want to be able to go, okay, this is section 2. This section 3 is about financing. And then there's 3 contingencies in the contract. Like you want to know all of those things. And if you ever want to sit down on a buyer consult with me, you're more than welcome to. I like to have agents in there just because it holds me accountable to make sure I talk about everything I'm supposed to, don't skip anything. And it's like good for you guys too to hear. Would you say it was beneficial for you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is good. I remember I'll never forget, they didn't have Ignite when I first joined. They called it Camp 443. I don't even remember why they called it that, but role play was a huge part of what we did. And I remember in one of the classes was literally just going through the terms of the contract. And I remember having it in front of me and I would just write all the notes in. And I've used that for so long, just to like know, okay, what goes in this section, like be able to get like refer back to it. So it's super helpful to have that. Any other questions? All right, let's talk about how we convert these A buyers. All right, leads. At one point, you probably will pay for some leads. And the only leads I ever pay for is when we do a listing and we do like a Facebook ad for that lead. I don't pay for leads from Zillow, from Realtor.com, from any of these bogus places that'll call you every day to ask if you want to buy a lead for a certain zip code or whatever. The only leads we actually pay for is when we do an ad for a listing. Now, you could do an ad without having a listing as well. You could create a Facebook ad that says, and you can specifically pick where you want it to be marketed to, looking for a home on the golf course, and then have a picture of a house on the golf course. that might generate a lead of someone who is looking for a home on the golf course. So if you've decided on a niche that you want to work with condos and townhouses or new construction, looking for some end of the year deals in new construction, and just have a picture of a house and then they click on it and then it generates a lead to you through command. It's pretty cool. Sometimes those leads are just junk. And I personally don't have the time anymore to work on those. So I've filtered it through our command and then we tag the lead based on that property address of the listing we have. So then I'm able to give those leads to somebody else to say, hey, if you want to follow up with these people, go for it. Because their information is asked for in command. Sometimes, I mean, they can put bogus stuff in there too, but it is asking for an email, phone number, and their full name. So that is a good way to do it. They say that the best way to do it is once those come in, you get notification on command, follow up with them. That's why it's done that. Again, those are the only leads that I pay for. I've never, ever paid for leads. If you are starting in real estate and it's expensive, it's not cheap to be in this industry, especially at the beginning. What's that? It's not, but that is like the last thing you want to be working on. If you've changed careers, you automatically have a database. Wherever you came from, you can absolutely, because you have rapport with those people. They trust you already. So those are the people that you're going to create a database at right off the bat. So why pay for leads when you literally have that? And here's the best way to get their information, because you're like, oh, wait, they were just in the cubicle next to me, or they're in the office next to me. I don't have their information. You might have an email address for them. So what you can do is, I'm putting together my list of Christmas cards. There's a website, and I think it's called postable.com, and it creates a link and it asks people for their information. And you can pick what you wanted to ask for. And I shared it. If you go to our Facebook page, I shared it last year on the Facebook page to say, hey, this is a great idea on how to start getting your complete contacts, because I'm sure you guys have heard this. A complete contact in command is their full address, their full name, a phone number, and an email address. So those are you want all of that, obviously their full name, but you want those three things: their address, their email, and a phone number for them. That makes them a complete contact. So if you use, I'm pretty sure it's called Postable. If you look it up, I'll look it up. It is Postable. You can create a link and share it with everybody, text it to them. And then you just say, I'm updating my information for our Christmas cards this year. Can you make sure I have your updated email, updated information? So it asks them for all of that. And there you go. That's the beginning of your database right there. And this is the perfect time of year to do that too. People are really doing this. So that's getting valid and complete contact information, saving it to command. Obviously, once you get that information, there's a way to import it into command. And that's like, go to a command class to learn that, because that is so easy to do. And then you start tagging. Tag everything in command. Over tag everything. I mean, if you looked at some of our contacts, they probably have like 10 tags on. Immediately, you're going to tag them with your DTD2 letters. So what you need to do is, and I'll show you this at a break, because I probably should share my screen and I'll join there to do that. You can go into command, and do you guys know what DTD2 is? I'll go get my DTD2 list. It's a breakdown of the letters of the alphabet, and it kind of just gives you a guide on who to call for that week. Because now you have this database of people and you're like, now what do I do with this? And it gives you 2 letters a week to call. So M and L's. You call everybody with the last names that start with M and an L. So when you put them in your database, if their last name ends with M, you're going to tag them M and L. So you're creating these tags based on those 2-letter combinations. And I'll pull up my command so you guys can see that. But that's the best way to do it to stay in touch with. What is this? Oh, is this the DTD2 list? Okay, this is great. I have one too, and I'm going to print it for you. Oh, this is awesome. What's the name of it? DTD2. I'll go get it a break. So like week 1, A and W. Week 2, B and E. So it's just they've done it 4 times. So each quarter you start the list again. So you're contacting them 4 times a year through a phone call. This then kind of gives you some guidance on how and who do I reach out to when, you know? What I will do is I'll break the list down. Thank you very much. So like, I know at the beginning of the week, like, oh my goodness, I only am gonna have 3 days this week to call people, because of, I look at my calendar. And so I'll go into my DTD to list, I'll go into tags and I'll pull up M&L. Because that's the 2 letters for this week. And it'll give me the names of everybody whose name's been tagged with M&L. So let's say there's 83 names in there that have the M&L as their last names. I know in 3 days, I have to make 83 phone calls. So then I could break it down in my mind of how many people a day I need to reach out to. So that kind of like makes it smaller and not as overwhelming. And listen, I'm telling you this, but I'm telling this hoping that this will make me do it too, because I'm not always the best at doing this, but this is the only thing you really need to be doing in real estate at the beginning, is making those phone calls. So you probably have heard your database is your business. It really is. So if you guys are spending the time feeding that database right now before you have the business, it's going to be start building that pipeline. So you're like that much ahead of the game when it's time to get rolling. All right. Determine their motivation to buy so you can speak to it. Obviously, they've either raised their hand or you think they've raised their hand because they've come to an open house. You're going to figure out what's making them do this. I'm sick of renting. What would be another reason they're motivated to move? A job. What else? More space. Downside. Death. Yep. All marriage. Yep. All reasons that you're going to want to find. You'll hear them talk, even if it's like an open house visitor. You'll hear, I just got engaged. Oh, there's your motivation right there. I just got a new job. Either that means they want to be in a different location because of that, or they know that they're getting a big pay raise and they want to buy a different house. So just listen and hear for that motivation, and then get that appointment set. Obviously, the sooner the better. All right. There's 7 different types of close to appointment tactics. And honestly, you're going to pick the one that you feel most comfortable doing. This is really, when I go over this part, I'm like, this is sometimes not me. So you just really have to decide which one is the best for you. We'll go through these. Okay. So what's important to know about this? It's more about the mindset when you're talking to them about this. So you've met them at an open house. You realize that they don't have an agent, or even if they do, but they can't tell you the name of it. I mean, a lot of times they'll just come in and say it just because. You're the expert. You know about this house. You know about the area. You're going to show them that through conversation as they're walking through the house. And then you're going to close. The negative positive close. This is a way of backing into that appointment. Okay. Now, what that looks like is, would you be offended if I asked if we could meet to go over all of this in a little bit more detail? I'm free tomorrow. What time works for you? That might not be exactly how you feel comfortable saying. Here's another one. Take back close. This technique puts a tempting offer in front of the buyer, and they subtly creates fear that they might miss out. It's been great talking to you, to be honest. I don't know whether I can be of help to you or not. However, I'd be honored if we could meet to find out more about what your needs are. Are you free tomorrow? So it's kind of like you think they need help, but you don't know if you're the person that could help them. But let's see if that could work. Give them what they're looking for. Let's meet at my office and I can give you the specific details about that property and let you know about similar properties that are for sale. What time works for you? Great. See you then. This one, I don't know if you've done an open house for me, but a lot of times I'll tell people have some properties already available, because 9 times out of 10, it's probably not the one for them. But they're obviously looking. So I always tell people, know what the listings are around the area that you're doing the open house in that price range that would be like competition for the listing you're doing the open house for, just so you're like the expert. When they you can see their body language that they're not interested. Did you guys see that one down the street? That it just went on the market. It's listed a little bit higher, but it does have that extra half bath that it sounds like you need. I get out of here at 2 o'clock. I'd be happy to show it to you. I just say, I can show any properties in our area. So that's knowing that information. What they're saying is, don't show it to them, have them come in for the appointment. Now, I'd say still do what I said, but you could still have more information. Our lender has some phenomenal first-time buyer programs. I'd love to get together with you, and I have some of this information at my office. Maybe we can talk about it. That's a great way to get them in too. The trial close. Trial closes test the water, and you should find out whether you and the client could generally agree on something. Can you see how receiving a list of all these new homes on the market in your price range would be helpful for you in your home search? Great, let's meet. Again, you have to do what feels comfortable for you. The important part is just closing. So you just kind of look at this and see what makes the most sense. The assumptive close. Assumptive closes assumes the close and prevents them from saying no. It sounds like we should meet. I'm available most times this week, so what works best for you? Now that's confidence. That's total confidence to know that. So, and that's maybe one of the least at this stage in the game, because I struggle with that for sure. This is probably my hardest thing to do. For sure, on a stranger. Someone I know, not a problem at all. Tie downs. Tie downs are phrases that ask for confirmation. Expressions like, wouldn't that be great? Or forming questions with, can't you? Isn't it? Or wouldn't you? Ask for the agreement and get your customer into a pattern of saying yes. We'll save hours on your home search if we meet at the office first. Saving time is important to you, isn't it? Great, let's meet. Any questions on this? Tell me, just by looking at these and hearing the difference, is there one that you guys feel more comfortable with?
I like number 3.
The negative, positive?
They're just
How would you say it?
honestly pretty much close to what was recommended. Like, would you be offended? Because it kind of takes out that I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Being respectful.
Being respectful. And then saying I have availability for you. So it's not like, would you be offended? Oh, let me get back to you.
Mhm.
And then you don't, or XYZ. So it's like respectful and actionable. All
Yep.
the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyone else have another one that they would use?
Like the show benefits and to give them what they're looking for. I would give them some, but not everything, kind of cliffhang them a little bit, so they're saying, tell me more. But I like the part that you said about, and about the other properties in
Yeah.
the area. Because it does add value, and that came up in my open house that I did, on Hackney Road.
Mhm.
There are several houses that are on sale.
Yep.
And there's a similar house that is around the same size and it has a red door.
I know what you're
And
saying.
the gentleman was talking about the certain amount of square footage that he was particularly looking for. And
Okay.
it hit the nail, but I did let him know that there was another
Oh, good.
house, that is in the area that's
Good.
around that same size.
Good. Yes, sir.
My question is really, where can I go to get some of the examples of the seven?
Does it not show in your book, like on my side, it gives me those examples below? Does yours, doesn't do that?
It's just blank.
Oh, so you're supposed to just write everything down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I only thought about 3 of them.
Okay, so this is what I'll do. At our break, I'll make copies of these, because I printed this in black and white because I just wanted to save money. But, so you'll have to look closely at it, but it's in here. You can see those, and I'll print these for you guys and you can have these. Because that'll be helpful too, just to give you an idea over there. Great, that's great. You don't have to write. Anybody else? Yes. Why that?
Because especially at an open house where, they're strangers and you can kind of test out like if you can get along with them,
Mhm.
in order to help them or ask them questions,
Mhm.
figure out if they're working with an agent or if they're pre-game. I
Right.
guess. So, yeah. Which one's on?
She said trial close. Yeah, it's kind of like take the bait, take the bait. Like, wouldn't this be good for you? What, don't you think that would be helpful? Another thing, and I'm gonna go, as we go through, I'm gonna show you something else that's really important too when we're talking about this. Okay, Buyer objections to the appointment. You're gonna ask questions. You're gonna investigate deeper. You're gonna empathize. You're gonna acknowledge and say, oh, I understand how you're feeling about that. And that's a hard one if you're not a feeler. Because feeling, what? We're talking about buying a house here. What does that have to do with anything? So that's one that you kind of have to be the chameleon on, to be like, oh, I never thought about that. Even if it's not a feeling, you're just like letting them share how they're feeling and like reinforcing that and affirming that. Identifying the real issue. Restate what you've heard and ask for confirmation. So what I hear you saying is you love this layout, but you would prefer, that's kind of reaffirming, that's really important because it shows you're listening too. And a lot of times when I'm listening, I'm horrible at remembering names. So first of all, I'm going to repeat their name when I shake their hands. So then I have to be like, okay, what is it? He's got beautiful eyes. I got to remember that. Like something about them. John has beautiful eyes. John has beautiful eyes. Okay, got it. And then at some point during the conversation, I'm going to probably hear something that I will be specific to them. Like they have 3 kids that they want to be in the Gordon Elementary School District. So when they leave, I'm literally going into my notes section, of my phone, and writing John, pretty eyes. They want to be in Gordon Elementary schools. Because hopefully you're not juggling to like write down their contact information, because hopefully you've had a system to create getting that contact information. I use an app called Open Pro, and it's free. I think that's what it's called. If I should confirm that. I put it on my iPad mini. I know I don't even know if they exist anymore. But it was like a good way for me to, maybe it's Open House Pro. I only have it on my iPad mini, so I don't have it here. But if I saw it, what it does is it's like it's an interactive sign-in. So they just click on the screen, a touch screen, whatever you're going to be using. And then it asks for their information, their first name, last name, and email address. I think that's it. And then it asks them a few questions about feedback for the property. And you can always spin it as the seller really would like some feedback on this. We just went on the market, so any feedback you can provide would be great. And then it gets them to that question.
Open Home Pro.
Open Home Pro, that's it, Open Home Pro. And it is free. And that's a good one to capture their information. You can go out and like take a picture of the house before you do the open house, and then you put in like a little bit of details, like the price, the bedroom, bathroom, and square footage. So it looks super professional when they walk in and they see that sitting there. All right, let's see. Identify the issue, restate what you've heard and asked for. We said that. Offer a solution. Obviously, the appointment is a good solution. Can I send you some listings or get more information about this? It came up that there was no, I didn't know what year the water heater was. Well, that's a great reason to follow up with that person. Let me get your email address, your phone number. I'll text you. We're waiting for the seller to let us know if he knows what it is. So I do have it, by the way. So that's a great reason to follow up with someone too. If there's something that they're asking for that you don't know an answer there you go, get their information. Oh, you like this house, but it doesn't have this. I know that there's one coming soon down the street. Because remember, right now in Richmond, coming soon listings are not syndicating to Zillow. And I say right now in Richmond because guess what? In Williamsburg, they do. I have no idea why we have not allowed that to happen. But it also is like a card that you can play for these open houses to say, this is the reason why it's real important for me to know, for us to connect or stay in touch, is because I see these listings that come into the coming soon status that aren't syndicating to the realtor.coms and to the Zillows. So that's why they need to stay in touch with you, because you know when listings are coming to the market. Now, do all agents put in coming soons? No, they don't need to know that. But you have access to coming soon. And that can be helpful to them. Offer the solution and urge an agreement. Obviously, that's when you're going to meet, you're going to push that or explain that. We're not pushing it. Any ahas from that or questions?
Chris, you have a question going back
Yes.
actually to the sudden close point?
Yes.
I know you said pick up, but you're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
What about the strategy of being comfortable with all of them and letting your context and your current situation dictate which clothes? you-
Yes, as long as you sound real,
Yeah.
because some of these may not sound real to you. Some of these might, that is not me. That is so fake and hokey. I'm not doing that one. But if you can make yourself sound genuine
Conversation.
in what, yep, in that conversation. I mean, you make a good point. A lot of times you have to become a chameleon based on the person you're talking to because of their personality.
Right.
So if you find someone that's more direct, your response may be different. That closing might be different than someone who you feel like you need to handhold, they're super timid, all of that. So you're reading that, their personality, as you're like watching them walk through the house and just in conversation. Some might be super shy, super guarded. Some might be to the point, be like, yeah, this is great, but it doesn't have this, we're out. So you have to really jump in. Which one of these is gonna be the best? Cause I don't have a lot of time here.
Okay, I just want to get your perspective.
Yes, for sure. I'd say it's good to know all of them. And again, don't have a limiting belief of that's not me. I'm saying that. But again, it's probably better to have these all in your back pocket to be able to feel comfortable using this one on that one, using this one on that, you know? Great question. All right. I don't know how this works. What time? Okay, we'll keep going. We'll take a break at 10. Is that normally kind of what you guys do? Around 10? Okay. Preparing the buyer consultation. This is the fun part. All right. Let me make sure I didn't get anything. So part of the buyer consultation is going to be going through the steps of buying a home. And how I utilize that is if you're in our office doing it, it's really helpful to put a roadmap on the screen. And there's some great graphics out there for that. And I will share mine with you guys so you can see that. In this book is this. And this is super helpful in a buyer consult to have this home buying process. It really gives them the whole steps from picking your realtor to doing your consultation, picking your properties, getting pre-approved, and then what happens when you write the offer. So it goes through the beginning and the end steps. I have this up on the screen in a different format, kind of looks more picture-like. They have this in their book. And as you're going through the contract, you're literally going through this bottom part. So up until the contract, you kind of are talking this part out. So another big piece of this is you're going to go through this at the beginning and be like, we're here to just talk about what it looks like to buy a house. I know it can be overwhelming for some if you've never done it. That's why I really find it important to have this consultation. And then you go through where they're at and stuff in the process. They may have already been pre-approved. Great. So you guys are a step ahead of the game. You've already gotten pre-qualified or pre-approved. Perfect. Selecting your properties. At the end of this, we're going to go through what's important to you. I'm going to do a needs analysis so I know exactly how to set up your search. One thing I will say about your search though, I keep it as broad as possible. You're taking all the notes, but when you actually set the search up, put the basics in because they honestly don't know what they want. They don't know what square footage they want. They don't know if they could want a half an acre or at least 3/4 of an acre. Because if it's the perfect house, I bet you there'd be some compromise on some of those things. There are some non-negotiables you probably will know. The area they want to be in, the price points, their minimum bathroom and bedroom. Those are the 3 things that you probably know that they know that they're pretty set. And when you set up a search, you can do the minimum. So they know that they need a 3-bedroom, we're going to put 3+ bedrooms. Well, they know they need 2 full baths, 2+ baths. And then your area and your price point. Let them get the house that doesn't have the fenced in backyard, even though they said they wanted that. It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't mean you don't know what you're doing. It just means one, not all agents mark every single detail in their listing. And some of it's not required. So there's no way to kind of weed out the fenced in versus the non-fenced in. Let them get the house 1,200 square feet when they said they only wanted 1,300 square feet. Because guess what? It has everything else that they would love. So they may compromise on that 100 square feet. So keep it very broad when you set up that search. Again, do this at the end of your consultation because that's the fun part because then they start to get excited. You want their full attention on this part. All right, a lot of this information is for kind of them to go through on their own. But like I said, they go through that roadmap. These are the steps that you kind of will talk about. You may not really get into this. This is a very, very important piece to this. And I will put this in, and this will be theirs for you guys to see. It's the do's and don'ts of when you're buying a home. Because you'd be surprised, even for experienced buyers, what they don't realize they should or should not be doing. And this is all related to their financing. So it's simple things like, do not co-sign for a loan with someone when you're getting qualified. Do not close a credit card. Do not open a new bank account until you, well, you can do it, but you have to let your lender know immediately because they're gonna need bank statements from that new bank, all those things. Do not put $20,000 in an account and not be able to explain where that came from. So there's all these important things. So that is a very important piece to this. So I would say the roadmap, the do's and don'ts, and then the contract. The contract is gonna help you through that roadmap. So you're gonna go through, the terms of the contract, and that takes, I mean, we were there for an hour and a half, hour, 20 minutes. And by the end of it, they're glazed over. So you kind of like wrap it up with the fun part of getting their search set up. Because you want to end on a good note, not walking out like a deer in headlights, like, what are we doing? Like, how did this just happen? And I constantly say in the middle of the consultation, listen, you're going to hear this and you're going to process it, but you're going to probably ask me this question when we get into the search or once we go under contract, and that's okay. There are no such things as stupid questions through this process. So you kind of keep reaffirming them, like, you don't need to know all the answers right now. I'm just going over this with you because there's a good chance that we could go under contract on something in the next week or two. And you need to know what you're signing. And I think if you keep clarifying that to them, they realize that you're like looking out for their best interest. And that's the most important part. So there's some other things that are in here that I can go through with you guys, or you can take a look at. I put information about our home warranty companies, our inspection companies, all those things. Yes, sir.
Especially when you're doing your buyer consultation. For this example, is the assumption that they've already been qualified. Sometimes when
Not necessarily.
buyers, so when you're setting up your criteria, how are you handling the price point?
So that's a great question. Sometimes I won't get to because they've got to talk to a lender first.
Correct.
So we might have to skip that part, which is another reason I do it at the end. Yeah, just because they may not, they think they know, but they really don't. So then the next step is I have an email that I send them after our meeting with the names of my 3 preferred lenders and ask them to reach out to them. And like I said, if Todd is in the building, it might be a good opportunity for him to slip in, even just introduce himself to them while he's there, while they're there.
There's the loan officer.
Yes, Todd Paul, yes, our in-house lender. And his schedule is kind of wonky, so he's not here all the time. So if you planned a meeting, you might want to just text him or email him and say, hey, I have a first-time buyer coming in. They don't have a lender that I'm aware of. Would love for you to meet them. He might bring in some special program information that he has or something like that to share with them. And it's good to kind of put a face with a name. You'd be surprised, 90% of the time, buyers never meet their lenders. Never. It's everything over the phone or email. So it is a good way to kind of put a face to a name. And he's good. He's got good, I would say his rates are they're competitive. They're definitely competitive. And he's got some good programs out there too. And he does everything. So he's definitely worth having in your back pocket for sure. And honestly, if you haven't set up a meeting with him, don't you guys have to do that for onboarding? Meet him. It's a great, like, I would highly recommend setting up an appointment with them just to kind of hear what programs are out there. Because that's the other thing. You might be going through this consultation and realize that they're first time buyers and they want to live in an area this has this phenomenal grant programs, because some grant programs are tied to certain areas that you live in. So if that's the case and they want to live in Northside, well, they may qualify because this home falls under the pathway program. So there's just different things that that could be helpful when you're learning that. And I don't know, you don't need to get too into the weeds with them on that. That's for a lender to do. So you kind of breeze through it. There's some great first time buyer programs out there. The lender's going to be able to help you walk through those. I'm aware of some. I'll make sure that you are aware of them as well as we get through this process. All right.
Is that like,
Yeah.
does that often I had somebody come by yesterday, and they liked the price point of the house that I was at. And there was a comparable house, but it was in like, Richmond City, and the price point was greater. Would a loan, like a package like that, help that situation, or it's also be the same price point?
Wait, it was higher in Richmond City than where were you?
So, Henrico,
It was higher in Richmond City than it was in in
the
Henrico.
house I was at was 350, and the house was like 6 something.
And it was similar?
I'll show you.
That's interesting. Yeah, you don't see, it's usually the other way around. In the city.
Square, price per square footage was 311 for the one in Richmond, and the one I was at was like 215 or something like that.
I mean, you know, a lot of that has to do with the schools too,
Yeah.
where it's zoned to. There's a neighborhood in Chesterfield called Oxford on the James. And it's literally split in half. Half of the neighborhood is in Richmond City and half of it's in Chesterfield. And by Chesterfield, it feeds to like James River High School, like it's nice. And that changes everything about the price point.
Yeah.
So when you're at an open house and you're getting those surrounding properties, make sure you're paying attention to those kind of things, because that can skew comps, that can skew it all, for sure.
Yeah, and mine wasn't necessarily a comp, it was, I was driving to it and I saw the open house sign and they said they liked the area where that house was. I was like, oh, like, there's an open house over there. Da, 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 da. So it wasn't necessarily a comp, but I was just wondering, like,
So I think you make sure they realize the difference in counties too.
Okay.
Because they may have picked Henrico, the schools. Although it still blows my mind that that was that much cheaper than the one in Richmond City. But if we're talking about the Fan versus East End Henrico, I mean, that could be a difference, you know, for sure. Or even Churchill. Parts of Churchill have very high priced homes. And then you go one block over and you're off 9 Mile and you're in Henrico. So it could be, it's very different, very different. All right, you've gotten that appointment. Oh, ensure all the decision makers attend. Woo, big one. Big, big, big one. And I've made a mistake on this before. Just got the wife and the husband working. Does no good, because you got to build a rapport with them. And I'm telling you, this is where my limiting beliefs, I struggle with this. Honestly, my kids go to a private school and I'm in relationship with a lot of the moms in that private school. But in my mind, I feel like I'm not getting, it's not in my mind, I'm not getting the leads that I should be, because I'm in front of these kids and parents a lot. I'm very involved with the school. But I've realized I'm not in front of the decision maker all the time. In a lot of these situations, the husbands are the decision makers. So I'm trying to be strategic about making sure that they're a part of, they are at least hearing about me being involved with this school and in the kids' lives, because I think sometimes in the end, the husband makes the choice on who the realtor is. And it could be the other way around too, it could be the wife. So you always just want to make sure all the decision makers are in the room. Now, this can get tricky if mom or dad are helping purchase the home with the purchase, the down payment, all that. And the reason I say that is sometimes they want to be the decision maker, but the kids don't want them to be. So it's really important to have that conversation with them to say, this is great. I'm so glad we're meeting. Is this just going to be, is it just you and your fiance buying the home? Yes. And then great. So you will be the only ones on the loan. Yes, but my parents are giving us the down payment. Okay, awesome. Now, are they helping you with the decision? No, it's just me and my fiance. Great. So they are the only ones that need to be in the room, because they're just going to get a gift letter from mom and dad. Even though mom and dad will probably be at every showing, every home inspection, everything. Just know they are not the decision makers, which also means your confidentiality is to your clients and not to mom and dad. If they call you, if they email you, if they ask you a question, your relationship is with the 2 decision makers or the 1 decision maker.
Certain buyers of my home, their parents kept calling my real estate agent. Yeah, they kept calling her. So he was like, the dad was like, we want something that's, before he even got in the door, he was like, it gotta be turnkey, it has to be this, it has to be that. Can we use the bathroom? This, that, it was just everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the parents were
Mhm.
just,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like that's an important decision making.
is there wording in a contract or an addendum anywhere that would state anything like that?
No, No, it's whoever's on the loan to me are the decision makers. So.
Yeah.
And sometimes dad has to be on the loan with the daughter when she's buying her because they just don't have the finances. But then that's when you just have to have a question. Because he's on the loan, do we need to have him as a part of this conversation?
What if like their partner is, somebody that travels often or works out of town? How do you handle those types of,
I mean, I know it sucks to do, but a Zoom is always helpful too. I struggle with Zooms because again, this is so much information. That it's so much better to have them in front of you. I feel like I lost a deal once through COVID because of this. And they were like young buyers and I thought we had a good rapport, but again, I was like doing it at my house. I wasn't as focused. You could hear my kids in the background at some point. So I'm like, I'm sure that had something to do with it. But if there is a decision maker, if you could at least get them on Zoom, that's helpful. Whereas one could be in the office and one on Zoom, that's even better.
Okay.
Complete your buyer guide. That's what we talked about, going through that buyer consultation, prepare the meeting space and review the lead sheet. So you might have gotten, information on a little bit about that lead through your open house or whatever. So just make sure you know as much as you can going into the appointment. To review, like, what did you remember from the open house about them? Oh, they did have a dog. I remember them saying that. So you just know as much as possible about them. All right, 10 service areas of the buyer value proposition. We talked about the needs analysis, like what's important for them when they purchase a home, pre-approving or pre-qualifying them. We really live in a world right now where you do the pre-approval. It's a higher level of getting a buyer approved than the pre-qualification. It requires more information from them. So most of the times you're gonna get a letter for the buyer that's a pre-approval. Again, one thing you need to pay attention to on those pre-approval letters though are the dates. We have seen more and more pre-approval letters expire because rates are constantly changing. Especially during COVID, this happened a lot. So their pre-approval letter might be good only for 30 days. Hopefully it's 60, but for a while it was 30 because things were changing so quickly. So pay attention to that. Neighborhood information, be the expert. If you know what area they want to be in or what schools they want to feed to, make sure you know a little bit about that area. You're going to set up their home search. So that gateway or that portal that you've set up for them is the ability for you to set up the search, putting in that basic criteria, and it sends them an email automatically when the search listing comes up that matches that search criteria. You're copied on those emails, so you get it as well. So when you see it and you think, oh, this could be a good one, you might want to text them and say, hey, a new listing just came through your portal. Check it out. Let me know if you guys want to set up an appointment. Making an offer, you will know the contract, so that is part of your value proposition, that you are the expert in that contract. Negotiating to buy, this is where it can be helpful to be in PC because you can have Patrice and Peggy help you with that part because it might get a little overwhelming when it comes to negotiating. There is more to terms than just a close date and a price. There's obviously a lot of things that you can work through to make an offer look strong. Vendor coordination, obviously, tell me what some of the vendors that are involved just in the beginning before you even close on a house. Who are you gonna get involved?
The title.
Title, what else?
Like,
Inspections, yeah. What if something comes up on the inspection that you need looked at? Right, you might have to have a contractor. You might need a plumber to come out because when you go to make a repair request, you want to know what you're asking for. And if the home inspection just said there's a leak in the bathroom, you want to make sure that there's nothing more than just that.
Yeah.
So you might have 5 different things that a plumber comes out and says, hey, yeah, you have this, you have this and this. This is how much it's going to cost. Then you send over that repair request with that quote to the seller.
do you have to have more than one?
No,
Like, okay.
and you honestly don't have to have any. But I always say, if you think there might be something big, you probably want to know the price on it, because here's why. Does anybody know why you may want to know the price on it? Why for negotiating?
Because they can either fix it or they can come down in price.
Right, they may, instead of saying they'll fix it, they'll just give you a credit at closing. What if they say, we'll just give you $2,000 and you know it's an $8,000 repair? Well, that's not gonna work. But you knew that because you got your contractor out there to tell you how much it's gonna cost. So, and a lot of times they won't do that, especially if you submit that quote to them too. They may say, well, we'll split it, or we'll pay it, or whatever. But it is very helpful, especially if it's something big ticket. What are the big ticket items that pop on home inspection? Could be
Crawl
Roof?
spaces.
crawl space,
Foundation.
foundation, yeah, what else? HVAC. Your crawl space, which includes your foundation, your roof, and your HVAC are your three big ticket items. That will absolutely, you need to pay close attention to. Now, what if they go up on the roof, the home inspector, and says, the roof's in good shape, but it's end of life?
They're looking at insurance costs.
Very good, we're gonna talk about that in a second. Can we ask the seller to replace the roof?
Sure.
You cannot. You cannot, if a roof is end of life, if a system is end of life, but it's in working condition, it does not qualify for a defect. So there's not a defect if it's in working condition. Now, if you wanna get your roofer out there and be like, please tell me you can find some hail for me, find something going on, a small leak in the attic, something, that changes everything. But just because it's end of life doesn't mean you can automatically ask for them to replace it. Now, on HVAC, know that your home inspector is not giving a full diagnosis of that system. And if it's end of life, or if it's over 10 to 15 years old, I highly recommend getting a separate HVAC inspection. It's probably gonna cost you a little bit of money, but it's gonna be worth its weight in gold. Because it'll tell you if there really is anything going on, because they can actually take the panel off the air handler, take a deeper dive into looking at the system itself, and then you may be able to make a better request rather than service and repair as needed. That's not gonna work. You can't just make that kind of request. If it's working, there's nothing to service. They're just gonna come back and say, there's nothing wrong here. Yes, sir.
Especially, each one of us in here as agents are at different spaces in our journey.
Mhm.
So when you have those additional inspections like that, oftentimes money is tight, upfront money is tight. In your case, are you paying for those inspections, or you having the buyer
Buyer
have
pays.
to come out of pocket each time?
Yep. And again, that the HVAC's really the only one that you'd have to pay extra for. Roofer, your roofer, my roofer will just go over there and do a roof inspection for me. It doesn't cost anything. Pretty much everybody else, because the HVAC inspection is more involved. They have to actually get permission from the seller to be there and go in and like take the cover off of your air handler and take a look at the heat pump, and it's just way more involved. But if there's any question, even if it comes back with okay, I highly recommend just getting a second opinion. So vendor coordination, you're gonna get the inspections taken care of. You'll work with the title company to get everything set up. Your buyer better be getting everything to that lender that they need in the background of all of this going on. It's a lot of hurry up and wait with real estate. You'll see, like, we get under contract, great, get your earnest money and schedule inspections, great. Now, what I always tell a lender is, please do not order the appraisal until I tell you to. Anybody know why that's important? No, it has nothing to do with the dates. But there is a clause in the contract that says it has to be within 15 days of ratification of the contract. But I always wait. I mean, it gets real close to that date, but why would you wait? Not that.
They might do something to the house.
Financing is a piece of that, so you'd have to have it for financing. What's that?
Or the seller might pull.
Okay, even if that happens, they kind of are obligated, unless there's one section of the contract mark. They're pretty much under. But what if inspections don't go well? The appraisal is paid for by the buyer out of pocket prior to closing. And it's about a $500 to $700 expense depending on the size of your home. So why would you have your buyer and lender pay for that appraisal and then order it immediately if we don't know if we're gonna get through inspections? You have 3 contingencies built into your contract: your home inspection, your appraisal, and your financing. And if there's an HOA, that actually gives you a 4. So you go in the order of your home inspection, get through that, great, order the appraisal. And in the background, the buyer's getting all their financing. So always ask your lender to hold off on ordering that appraisal until we get through inspection. Now, you'll probably forget, and they'll probably circle back with you and say, hey, are you guys good? Are we moving forward? Yep, go for it.
What's the order again?
Home inspection is the first contingency. Appraisal and finance kind of work together, but you don't order the appraisal until after you've got the inspection. Now, in the event you're purchasing a home that's in an HOA community, what are the obligations of the seller?
They gotta probably
Provide what?
provide a resale certificate.
Resale certificate and subdivision documentation, which is all the rules of the community. It's their job to get those to you. And you have 3 days to review them, and if you don't like the rules, you can terminate the contract for absolutely just that reason. So that is like a fourth kind of built-in contingency if you have an HOA. Are we good? Pre-closing prep, you're gonna do a final walkthrough of the property. At that final walkthrough, what are you bringing? Possibly. A bid to go in the cross space, no. You're gonna bring that repair request that's been ratified, because that has a list of all the things that the seller has agreed to do. And you wanna be able to go through that at the walkthrough and make sure that they've done what they've said they're gonna do. Now, what if 90% of your work was in the crawl space and there was a lot of work to be done? What can you do? in that situation? Receipts for sure. Always is a part of your repair request, great point. Always ask for receipts for all work completed prior to closing. What's another thing you can do?
Would you call the guy who did it and ask him what did?
Call who?
The,
Oh, contractor, for sure, for sure. I would say look their information up in D4 because they have to get licensed just like we do and make sure their license is currently active. Because guess what? If it's not, and they had Joe Blow do all the work, and that guy isn't even licensed anymore, is active, license isn't active, and then it has a home warranty, and then you move in the house and the air handler goes out because Joe Blow did it, but he's not licensed, the home warranty is not gonna kick in, because they're gonna ask for those receipts and see he wasn't licensed and be like, you didn't even get somebody licensed to do the work,
Had that
and that's on us.
Had that happen.
I did
The
too.
listing agent sent somebody out who used to be licensed, let his license lapse. He didn't check. His license lapsed, and then we said, no, you gotta have it fixed by a licensed contractor.
Oh, that's awesome. that you
And
saw.
then she said, well, no, he's already done the work. I said, it's not a contract. That says you're gonna have
Yep.
it done. And I even stated in the contract that all repairs are to be done by a licensed contractor in Commonwealth, Virginia. Tried to say no, and I said, hey, we have problems. So they had to go back and redo it. Or get it,
Or at
I had
least
to get
someone
somebody
that
else to
can-
re-inspect it.
Right, yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not that hard, that if the work was really done correctly, but he needed that verification because if something does go wrong, a home warranty is not gonna cover anything if that work wasn't done by a licensed contractor.
And it's my fault.
Right, and then it's your fault. I had that happen where an air handler went out. Air handler went out, the contractor was licensed, and guess what happened? It got replaced by the home warranty company, but the home warranty company went after the HVAC guy. Because he said that he did the work and he really didn't. Not our problem at that point. We still got the new air handler, but it literally went out like a week after they moved in. Yeah, so
Happened to me.
with that,
Plumber came in and did the work, we paid him to do it, and then it went out the next day. The same issue was going on, and I called him out and come right back out and fix it. But he told me the same thing that the guy said he fixed. So they had to refix it for free.
for free, right? So definitely have your receipts in place. You might print those off and bring those to the walkthrough as well. The repair request addendum, you're gonna bring that to the walkthrough as well. And then you might wanna have a list of your vendors is there with you as well. You're gonna give them that as closing, so that they have names of contractors that they can reach out to if they need something along the way. Those are all the things to have. You go to closing with them, it lasts about an hour, and then you move them over to a buyer, sole buyer, and put them in command and save them as, put them on a smart plan and just keep in touch with them. All right,
That an addendum,
for what?
or when you said to print it off and.
Print off the repair request addendum. So whatever you guys had agreed to that they would do in repairs, bring that to the final walkthrough with you so you can see, oh, these are all the things they agreed to. Did they get them done? The one thing I was gonna say though was, if you think there's a lot of work that you can't see, roof, crawl space, hire a re-inspect. Get a re-inspect done. It's $150. Your buyers pay for it. The inspector who did the original home inspection will come back out, look at that repair request list and make sure everything was done. I promise you, every time I've done that, they found things that weren't done.
Should the request for receipts be in writing as well?
So, great point. You could actually put on your repair request addendum, all receipts submitted to agent prior to closing. And you might even say prior to final walkthrough, so you have it like not at the closing table. Cause that does happen where they get it to you the last minute. But it's good to have, cause you wanna review it. You wanna make sure remember, you wanna make sure that that guy's licensed. So you get a handyman Word document of a guy who's did all the work. And now granted, there are some things that a handyman can fix, and you might want to specify in your repair request what it is that you're gonna have. You want all your plumbing, electrical, HVAC, roofing, crawl space to be done by licensed contractors. But if there's like caulk missing around the toilet and window seals that need to be, well, not even that. There's certain things though that a handyman could do. So you might just need to specify what it is that you want done by a licensed contractor. The way I break it down in my repair requests is I'll put like plumbing, and then I'll list everything on plumbing. But after I write plumbing, I write all work to be completed by a licensed contractor, licensed decor contractor. I list all my plumbing items and refer to the section of the home inspection that it refers to. And at the very bottom is where I'll say all repair receipts to be submitted prior to final walkthrough. And that covers everything on my list.
Do you
Yeah.
prepare buyers for that kind of cost, like extra cost, because it's usually we tell them about home inspection.
Yeah, that's a great point. This is really cool. So in this playbook, this section down here lists the different things that you're gonna pay for out of pocket. So when you go through the terms of the contract, you're actually giving them a copy of this contract and you're writing in the margin certain things. And those are, one section is monies to be paid outside of closing. Home inspection, earnest money, appraisal. Some lenders will have you pay your credit report. I have not seen that in a really long time. It used to be, I don't think they do it as much anymore. Great question. Because it is something that they need to know, like, they're already, if they're first time buyers and it's already funds are tight, like, that's kind of scary, so talk about more stuff. All right, I'm gonna stop here, is it 10 o'clock? Yes, oh my gosh, I went way over. Let's take a break. I'm gonna put my buyer consult thing out here, this is everything that's kind of, you could put in a buyer consult. You can look through mine to see what I've put in mine. Again, Command has some great ones. Mine has, I've picked and choose but I told you the most important, the process, the do's and don'ts, and then going over the contract. Those are like the three critical pieces. Maybe a resume, you'll see in mine, I'll put this up, you guys can go through this. And then I'll pull up where you can find that too, so you guys can see that too. And we'll take a break for 5 minutes, is that cool?
Yep.
Okay.
I think there was a sheet you're gonna make a copy of.
Yes, I'm gonna do that while we're on break.
Yeah, the same agent told me it wasn't her responsibility to ensure her contractor was licensed. And I blew a gasket.
Okay, so you're just gonna be held liable then.
Right. Oh, you get some real
Doozies.
doozies. Have y'all downloaded the forewarn app yet?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be all in that.
Yeah.
Four.
Forewarn,
Oh.
Fours.
yeah, it's, what it does is you put in a phone number of a potential client you're gonna go meet,
You use that often?
and it'll give
Okay.
you all the public record
Oh.
requests for their criminal history, for their
I get a name,
bankruptcy,
but I don't
for
get a
that kind of
number,
stuff, so you know what
then
kind
I
of
can look
person
it
you're
up.
dealing with.
when I go to expire.
But before you
Trying to
go
find
meet
the
them,
owner's
because if you see
information.
somebody who's got,
Put their
uh,
information in form.
2 counts of, battery, you don't wanna, might not wanna go meet with them by yourself, you know?
Or meet at a public place.
Right, or meet in a public place, yeah, might not wanna go to their house and meet initially, you know? Yeah, and this is a great app for you all, so you can get, I'll show you. So if I go in here,
Okay.
you can type in whatever number you want to type in here,
Okay.
and,
I had all that information. but
uh,
I'm like, how am I getting in contact? I got number.
so I'll type in myself.
Set up there.
Then of course-
And it'll give you all this information.
Make sure that it's legit.
I do that as well.
I don't need to
Like-
first.
Or
If you just like that, huh?
Yeah,
not just like that, but.
but it's,
It takes some FBI stuff for you.
it comes with your RAR
So that's
membership,
the extra step.
so,
I just haven't gotten to
I'm
that
using
yet.
all the
Yeah.
resources I'm given, I'm telling you that much.
But what I'm saying is,
But I put it right here with all this stuff.
forward, get this more.
very,
Really weird.
very good. I look up everybody. Doesn't matter.
My computer.
Forward doesn't just need the number, but you say.
The number and the address of all the
Is there a
properties
next
that they
step
have.
outside of that?
You use it.
Like
to
a
your
white
advantage.
pages or something, like, you know what I'm saying?
I'll give them one meeting, just an initial quick meeting and say, hey, you know, I'd love to learn about your real estate needs, but, you know, it's one of the first things we need to figure out is how much house you can afford. And, you know, have you been in contact with one, if not, I have some people and lenders I work with. And I have 3 people I work with, 3 lenders.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I send them out based on what I think personality traits work with each lender. Or,
You won't be able to, oh, no, you do have your stuff.
I think as long as you got your license, you're with RAR,
It should have came in an email,
yeah.
It's a separate email.
You can't sign up with it without the email.
So like, I just got the Century T, email, but I haven't gotten the full one yet.
Yeah, you gotta wait, well. I have to wait.
You might be able to get it already.
You got the Century what, Stephanie?
They got, send me my Century email.
We don't need to relive that moment, so.
Okay.
Ignite. Station.
So you printed the whole thing here?
No, well, so
All it is.
I did Ignite at night before I even got my license.
Girl, don't worry, I'll send it to you in an email, so you don't even have to take pictures of it.
Ignite at night.
Honestly,
So what did you find out?
about what?
The, water heater.
2014.
Really?
There's a lot of
Okay,
information
okay,
there.
that's what I mean, I'll let them know. I did,
You write down.
Good, and, I just told them what the sellers, 2017, but I didn't hurt you.
No, that's my other.
Uh-huh, right, there you go.
I had this email saying
on their house tomorrow, so they wanted to not have some mortgages.
So solution, strong solution feature.
Okay, so when I sent you the email, just scroll down and.
Okay. So, thank you. Like that? No. Read all of this.
I know, don't take pictures of it, because you won't get a good copy, it's part of everything in that Google Drive, so.
Oh, perfect, okay.
And like, I don't use all of it, but you might use pieces of it, so I just put everything in there.
Okay.
The one thing that I didn't print was the post-closing checklist, so
I
all
was
the
very nervous
that's
because
just contracts closed, but I also have a post-closing, that's like things that I do too. And typically,
But I put that in there, I use.
That's like during the consultation or before, okay.
I will now, and then
Got it.
very strict.
Yes.
No. So if you would add that door and that way, that would, anybody hold up.
Are you serious?
Say, how is that gonna have to do it? You know, saying, you don't have to. I'm like, it probably was one like over to see if it's something, and that has nothing to do with that. It's really, he was like, we should not, we should not.
This thing might is not like the online one.
It's not
No.
in a good way.
Yes, better way. Huh?
No, it's 2 hours behind.
I'm not even gonna lie, when we first heard Ignite was happening again, we all looked at each other, we were like.
Mhm. You had a little PTSD from that.
Yeah, I'll take it in person. Okay.
I do. I printed it and it still looks so light, so I printed it in house, let me try it.
No, I need to be, I would have been just like everything. Print out the Ignite papers for the sessions of the class. Since I'm paying for the paper every month anyway.
They have paper.
No, right? Don't use that.
I mean, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Why buy the book when you bought it already? You bought the book, you gotta print it out.
Oh.
That's what I should have did, yeah.
I'm thinking about printing the whole thing through. It was going to be.
Definitely, like.
You know, I was in my like excited era, that's why mine is in color. Where is it? I printed it at home. I never put Ignite after dark, so I didn't. And I didn't write it.
It's in an email. I need to find it. That's what I'm looking for now.
The Ignite.
The playbook, I mean, the. Had before.
I just saw it on the computer.
That was nice. It was tracking.
Okay.
I don't have my iPad today. The first two. I'm still,
Cause remember the guy was yelling at us at night talking about,
yeah.
if you don't have an iPad, you want, what's his name? Let me find him. I have my receipts.
Still find the link for me. Put the link. Is it
Second,
Ignite? Oh, God. That last night was definitely. Oh, we just signed.
And it.
Oh.
I wanna do Ignite at night, just so I can answer all the questions.
I mean, it would be good to like fill in those blanks.
The first time we were like,
Yeah.
now,
I
like,
will
here's the
tell you
page
this,
number.
if I do it, I'm not gonna get my things on them.
Sure, yeah,
I don't know if the,
Oh, thank you.
it's just really light up, but this one's probably the worst one. I could be it. Okay, cool. I will take one. Take it. All right, you're welcome. Thank you. You're
I
welcome.
know, I already had your email.
You're welcome. These are. What did I not print one? I didn't. Oh, yeah, look, it's free out here. Okay, let me get you one. I'll print one more. Yeah, there you go.
It wasn't that,
Oh, it wasn't them.
but it was another family that was kind of in a unique situation. Cause this person was somebody come by, I just see you was doing the morning, and the next day, cause I tell her, hey, so-and-so may come by, come back with her husband. I forgot, and I saw the person who had that.
Thank you.
You told her to come on? And I had to be like, wait, for it. Trying to go back and do it. I know I see it.
Girl. I ain't here for you.
No, but that family. You thought my feeling ready to buy another.
That's always like interesting to me when people go to open houses and like not ready to buy for a home.
It's now. It's now.
But that probably means that they don't really know what they want. Or what, I mean, they might just be looking at areas.
Yeah.
Have several people come in, oh, I'm just decorating.
Decorating ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
I personally love our stager.
Yeah,
That's cool.
cool.
Built the house. Stager doesn't say.
Yeah.
Right.
I like this
It
pink
could be ready
and.
anytime. They're just like.
Some stagers, I know some people use sales,
Some people use sales, sales,
Oh, that's how I don't think she would. He was in the going I love this house already.
Ah.
So she would.
Yes, I just printed you one. I'm gonna go grab it real quick.
I'll give it.
That's fine.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm basically taking that. I mean.
So this part, we actually will probably roll through a little bit quicker, just because we've kind of talked about this. These are what you could put in your, buyer guide. You can call it whatever you want. You'll hear, mine says playbook, you'll hear consultation. I honestly, I did say I would show you guys mine, didn't I? Let me join, I think this will work. Let me join the, group. Sorry, let's see. She might not let me. I gave one. Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay.
Does it get warmer in here during the cold winter months?
Why is it called here?
OMG. Every time I come like I'm preparing for winter
Winter?
weather, and then I go outside, I'm like, oh.
Winter is in the bathroom.
Oh, yes.
Winter is in the bathroom.
Winter is
totally.
The ice and roll.
Media.
Oh,
What?
Am I?
I try my best to make out the door.
They get out.
Passing are so funny until meeting space, so I can share my screen. I wanted to show you guys where to find these different items.
Bring my.
Listen, I don't like this coat, but listen, my fingers have like, every day. I promise. Yeah. I think I'm.
Last week, but the rails and notification to come in, I made
How long did it take you?
a weekend. Like from Thursday to, what was it?
That's nice.
No, Wednesday to Sunday.
Who did that for you?
I did.
You did those keys?
Mm.
Oh, I must put mine in after that.
How did that, girl?
That's the easy, you already know my word.
You can email me. just text me.
You can't forget it.
You don't jump in. I wait, hold on, wait.
I do.
Nice,
I'm an
girl.
artist.
I like that. You gotta,
You didn't.
oh, no, I did. Oh, on that stuff, girl. And put
That's
that-
one, I'm an artist, and I actually go to see when I'm. Yeah.
Make what? What do you make?
Realty, but I do luxury realty. Realtor.
Oh, you mean the one that like.
Yeah, your phone is a soul sign.
Oh, those two is, that's what you're doing.
Yeah. 'cause
I
I
made
make of what people can
Those
choose
are
from,
really
or you
nice.
just customize it.
I customize it and, yes. Thank you.
That's what I do.
Cause I can pay them to see which one I would like, but then I could decide which one I want to go with. Thank you.
Like that black-
Oh, an email?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I was like, I just went through training.
Oh, I can give you a-
Oh.
Yeah, you sent it, I had to-
Yeah, it's on a new one.
Are you should be.
'Cause I wanna keep that up, but I just.
I posted it.
Yeah.
On my tab. And I also yelling for my. I have some forms, I said, okay, so we're gonna bring- and it's just shocking. Think like your family is around here.
Does it show me?
But this is very helpful, like yesterday, I was trying to show some.
Well, I need one.
Pull it up on that computer.
It's your custom sign.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in the small one is one something and the large
Oh,
one.
you did one.
That's what you make it for, so.
But that's just out of the one, so going to the hospital for baby.
Come on, right there.
Card. I had it to my.
Oh.
Yeah.
and I was like, this is asking me to show my day, and how was the land?
I'm gonna start again.
I'm clicking stuff on it, and I was like.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't know?
All right.
I was like, oh, here it's down as. And you,
And
and
that's some good company just.
oh, they, yeah, pounds.
That question is so crazy, and I'm just like, right now.
So make sure I'm not.
So I'm like, I mean, I'm keep asking, yeah, so we don't have the time to like, well, I just fix it. And then I'll show you that word, so I can text to you.
That's fine. There's just join, we'll let them know you're here. I can use that screen, it's not.
Are you sure?
Yep, okay, I can go to command from there. That's not a big deal.
That's what I said, that black one.
Big deal.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Not sure why it's not there.
It's totally okay. Okay, I just don't wanna screw it up, but when I need to go back to the.
Do you want me to share screen again on here? Or do you want
I
to?
wanna do it first. Share screen, but I need to share screen so that it goes to command. So I wait to share until I get to command. And then when I stop share, I just go back to this. This is open, right? Okay.
So I stopped sharing screen right now.
Okay.
I'm sure when you get to command or.
Can you pull up the enter? Okay.
I felt bad, but at the end of the talking,
Oh, you have it.
I literally have to put him out of the house, it's 3:05 hours. It's in contact.
No, we'll do here first. And then Canva, is that our new Canva right there too?
No, that's our Canvas.
Okay.
So
Can we open also?
I think once you go into,
You want me to do mine?
yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Oh, well, it's not saved. Okay. Oh, shoot. That means I have to remember mine. Hmm. It's not in here.
And I'm seeing the advantage, one of the things.
Maybe it's gone.
do you want me to just resend you the link?
So what?
The Zoom link?
What,
Um,
to do what? What will that do?
Right now it's on one of our meeting ones. I can go tap onto, the regular Zoom one and then you can do the link. The one that's not recording.
You'd have to do that.
It's probably easier.
You think?
Probably.
Wait.
Okay. Pretty bad, but I don't, I have no.
He was like, oh, I already have a broker, I have this, I have that, so, we don't have to negotiate with buyer's fee.
Agent.
Out. You wanna talk me to that? And thank me for my time, being telling me you got a broker and all these vendors and HVAC, I'm like, that's the whole life plan out there. I know, right?
Take a map, right?
You know, if you can knock this wall down like.
Terrible. What in the world?
If it sounds hollow. I don't know what I'm doing, you asking me the most random questions that like, what? It was,
Working you.
it was crazy, like, I was so awkward, but I think I kind of made him feel comfortable. Cause I was telling her he would be the guy that probably get bullied in school. And he was extremely, I was afraid that thing, he was very. Like, look, brother, it's real bad. Oh, no. Oh, it's been nice talking to you. I know his whole life.